how you can add more emotion into your content. That is something that I am known for. Hi, I'm Trisha Edwards, and I post most days on LinkedIn. Gonna just adjust the camera just a little bit. And I'm mostly Monday through Friday that you're welcome to come over and connect with me. I would be thrilled to connect with you. And I get a lot of comments about how much people love my writing. And I've recently been asked by more than one person, several people, about how they wish they could write like me. And I've had a few others who are like, I'd really love for you to teach me how to write. And I don't have a class that teaches somebody how to write. So I thought I would make some videos here, because what I help people with is how to tune into yourself, first of all, don't write like me, write like you, how to use your frequency, how to tune into your own inner rhythm and let that be your guide. I have a phrase that I like to use, and that is, does it feel good? Does it make sense? And that's my cycle. I cycle through that. Does it feel good? Does it make sense? Always start with the inner self first, then head to the logic, because strategy is important. But if it doesn't feel good first, you're going to end up in a whole wrong way. Because that's what I did the first year that I was on LinkedIn. It's like my learning year. And I thought I needed to do it the LinkedIn way. And I followed all the advice, and I sought out the advice and to take more of it and to do it. And I hated everything about it. And so last summer, in the summer of 2024, I decided, you know what, I'm not down for this anymore. I've been trying this, I've been doing it. And even when I get results, I'm yuck, 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 yuck. So quitting is not an option for me. So I started doing it my own way. It took me a while to figure out kind of what my own way was and give myself permission. That's really what it was. It's to give myself permission, because, you're bombarded with all the posts and contents and stuff that you read when you're on the platform, and you see the metrics. They're right there in front of you. Like, how many followers does Trisha have? It's right here. It's in your face. You can't escape it. But to shift the power away from external metrics and to shift it into my inner momentum. That's what I did. And so since then, I would say really November 2024 was probably my breakthrough moment. And I've been going deeper ever since. And I write poems, I write narratives, I give almost like perspectives like you're living in my mind. But I also give external things. I mix it up. There's a blend. So if you follow me, you probably know that. If not, come on over. You're welcome to follow me. I'm not going to read this full post as we go through here. What I'm highlighting these are the choices I'm making while I am writing. And I write for emotional resonance first, because that is my strength. That is my way. And if you're wondering what your way is, I use human design. There's a process in human design I've studied with Jamie Palmer, and I'm certified to offer her report that she puts out. And I was already doing this, but when I went through her report, I realized, oh, now it makes sense. I felt like it cemented a little bit, like my understanding, where I had it and it was kind of fuzzy and I was doing it, but I was kind of doing it on purpose, but didn't fully get it until I signed up with her to study underneath her. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now it totally makes sense. So if you're interested in that, I have something called the Ideal Client Human Design Report. And it's her report, but I give you it. The report is kind of long, and it feels, if you don't understand human design, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. But what I do is I give you the report, and then I give you a Loom video, and we do a one-on-one session, and we put it in plain speak, normal people speak, not human design speak, which is much easier. So anyway, going through all that, leading from emotion is my thing. I look for ways that I can evoke emotion within somebody. Not the old ways, like the old marketing ways of, ooh, you got to put fear and urgency, give them a reason to buy now, FOMO, scarcity, all of that. Ugh, no, thank you. Not doing that. And not that. I want a felt resonance. Like, a common thing is somebody has said on repeat, numerous people, I felt like I could just exhale, and I noticed my shoulders starting to relax. Like I started to feel okay. And that's because I'm also trained in nervous system balancing and how you can tap into your nervous system for good, not that old scarcity way of selling. And I can take you on a journey in my writing. This is really important to me. So I have a line in here, and I've been making this series of some different lines and why I'm picking the things that I am picking. And there's a part in here. So I'm talking about, this whole post is about how you can recognize dysregulation in somebody, emotional dysregulation, emotional safety, nervous system dysregulation, whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, we're all off kilter a little bit. And this was at the beginning of summer school, and it had involved my son, who is nonverbal, who doesn't use words. So everything shows up in his actions and the way that he does things. And it was about his rhythm and how he regulates without, you know, because he's 12. And you know, kids, they just have these normal ways of regulating. They know it innately, and then we condition it out of them. We say, that's weird. Why are you doing that? Don't do that anymore, you know? And they lose their self-regulation. So it was a little bit of how much we have always allowed him to have that for himself, as long as no one's getting hurt or anything. And observing those things that are important for him, even though it may sometimes annoy me. Like, he builds forts in the corner. He moves the sofa all around and everything. And it's kind of annoying because then we had to move all the furniture back, and it's hard to walk through the living room because everything's disheveled. Like, it's kind of annoying, but I know how important it is for him. So that's what the whole post is about on here. But what I want to share is this part, because when I add things in it, I think about how can I give a visual, evoke something in the body, but also match the theme of what I'm trying to convey, the overall message. It has to complement it. And it has to be personal. It has to be something real, that's real in my life. And so I'm going to share this one right here, and just this line in here, and why I picked the things that I picked. And I put in, of course, giggle attacks at bedtime. And I guess I really like the word attacks. That's not normally like what we think of as a positive word, but put with giggles, because it does. It feels like it just comes at you and you don't have control of it, and it's getting you. And there's something, because it's giggles just coming at you. And I think we all remember those times where, like, I couldn't stop laughing. I didn't even want to laugh. Like, you know, like when you're mad at somebody and then something happens and they tell you something and it's very funny and you just can't help but laugh, and you don't want to because you want to be mad at them, but you can't hold it back. And that's what I think about this giggle attacks at bedtime. That's what was running through my mind when I picked that. And literally, it's like, I don't want to laugh. I'm tired. I want everybody to go to sleep, you know, so that I can sleep. But yet, he gets me giggling, and I can't help but just egg him on just a little bit on there. So that's how I feel on it. And all of that giggling before bedtime actually helps you to rest better. It gets out some of that last little bit of nervous energy. So it has a lot of benefits. But I picked the word attacks because it feels like I can't not have it. That's how I wanted it to feel. Like, yes, they come and you just can't stop it. It's unstoppable. And then his room becomes the Comedy Store. So if you're in Los Angeles, there's a Comedy Store here. I don't know if it's elsewhere. I should probably know that, but I don't. And the Comedy Store, it's a place where you go and you do stand up, right? And everything. And so I mentioned something that this is my hometown. And if you know anything about comedy, that there's the thing called the Comedy Store, or the store, some people would call it. And I swear he's aiming to get his name next to Daddy's on their wall. And my husband, so on their external wall, there's all these well-known comics that have their name on the wall. It's all painted on the wall, their signature, I guess. And my husband's is on there, and he's taken me to see it. And, it's just like, it's like a really cool thing. And so that's a little bit about me. So what I'm doing is I'm building this little section in here, something that's personal, it's real, and it evokes, there's a few things like the attacks. We talked about that. It's uncontrollable, but it's like the best kind of uncontrollable, right? And that his room is all of a sudden now a comedy stage, he's doing stand up. And this about getting close to daddy and mirroring that, it's the connectedness. So it's laughter, and we've all had those kids in our life who, decided to ham it up and to perform, or maybe not even kids, just people in our life, right? And that tying next to our family, our connection, it's important, all of this, it's all there together. So I'm looking to evoke those emotions. I don't know if you can tell, as soon as I started talking about this, I started sitting up and my hands are moving, and I can feel it in my chest. There's so much love in my chest. And now, so this has a double effect. There is what the reader gets. So, giggle attacks. If you don't really like giggling and laughing, you may not want to work with me. I don't know. I like giggling and laughing, and I don't know very many people who don't like that, but that would be a calling card for, I'm looking for people who like this, who like to have a little bit of silly, good time fun. Because sometimes I have my clients do silly things. We have a little bit of fun doing them because I know that breaks down barriers real quick and allows freedom of expression real fast. It calms your nervous system real fast. I have a lot of reasons for why I have silliness in everything that I do. And then his room becomes, and that's like imagination. Now you sitting and thinking about the room, and now it's becoming in this stage. And I don't know about you, but I know what his room looks like. You don't know what his room looks like, but I see a generic bedroom. All of a sudden the bed becomes a stage, and there's a mic, and he's standing on it. And, there's lights, and there's, I don't know. It evokes an image for me. I see that happening. And then that, looking to get his name next to dad, it's a little bit more of the first thing that comes to me is that, when your dad puts his arm around you and says, good job, kid, sort of that closing, bringing it in. And it's also about legacy. And everything that I do is about foundation for building for legacy. So I'm putting my calling card by the choices of words that I'm putting out here. I'm evoking emotion into it. It's personal. It's my emotion. So I'm excited and I'm emoting as I'm writing it, as I'm reading this, as I'm sharing it. And someone who's reading it is having their own emotional experience in there. It has all of this comes together. So I think about all these things whenever I write something. Now, it doesn't take a huge amount of time to do this. I just have things that come to me, and then does it feel good? Does it make sense? Does it feel good? Does it make sense? And I just use that. So when I first had this in here, I was just going to do giggle attacks, and I had something else in there, and I don't even remember what it was. And I was just like, feels flat. Doesn't feel like no momentum, want to keep going. It made logical sense. It just didn't have the, ooh, yeah, that's the thing I want. And so that's what I was looking for. So that's why I ended up putting this in here.